Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Natasha Hamilton, luxury realtor with EXP Realty, serving Kleinburg, Vaughan, King City, and the Greater Toronto area. And today we are breaking down the May 2026 Kleinburg real estate market. And this is very important update if you are thinking about buying, selling, investing, or simply trying to understand what is happening in one of Vaughan's most prestige luxury communities. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the key numbers, what they mean in plain English, and how buyers and sellers should be thinking about the market right now. So before we jump in, please like this video, comment below if you are watching from Kleinburg, Vaughan, or anywhere in your region, and subscribe to my channel for more local real estate market updates. I do buyers tips, seller strategies, and luxury market neighborhood breakdowns. And also check out the helpful links in the description below. You'll find resources for buyers, sellers, home value requests, and ways to contact me directly. So if you're thinking about buying or selling in Kleinburg, you can reach me at natasha.hamilton@exprealty.com. You can call or text me at 226-974-6544 or visit natashahamilton.exprealty.com. So now let's get into the numbers. Here's the big headline. Kleinburg is still luxury, but buyers have more power than they have had in years. So the median sold price in Kleinburg was $1,498,500, and inventory is sitting at 8 months. And the median bidding spread came in at roughly $64,499 below asking. So that tells us something very important. Kleinburg is not crashing, it is not distressed, but it is definitely a more strategic market than it was during the aggressive seller markets we saw in the past. So before you price your home, before you make an offer, or before you assume the market is either good or bad, make sure you watch until the end because I'm going to explain what these numbers actually mean and how they affect your next move in Kleinburg. So let's start with the overall market snapshot for Kleinburg in May 2026. So there were 14 homes sold in Kleinburg. There were 62 new listings that came onto the market and 114 active listings available for buyers to choose from. So the average days on market was 26 days. Now, for anyone who does not follow market stats every month, here's what this means. When we compare 14 sales to 62 new listings, we can see that new supply is coming onto the market much faster than homes are selling. So that creates more choice for buyers. And when buyers have more choice, sellers have to compete harder. The competition can show up in pricing, presentation, negotiation, or longer time on market. And the 114 active listings are especially important because Kleinburg is not a huge market. So when you have that many active listings compared to only 14 sales in a month, it tells us that buyers are being very selective. So this does not mean buyers are not interested in Kleinburg. Kleinburg is still very extremely desirable, but does it mean buyers are not rushing into every listing at any price? No, they're not. They are comparing homes, they're watching days on market, they're looking at condition, they're looking at the lots, the finishes, the location, everything. So the first takeaway is that Kleinburg is, yes, still a premium market, but the pace has definitely changed. Buyers have options and sellers need a very strong strategy. Now let's talk about Kleinburg compared to Vaughan as a whole. So Kleinburg's median sold price in May was $1,498,500, and Vaughan's median sales price was $1,088,000. And bond average price was $1,179,718. So that means Kleinberg is trading more than $410,000 above bond's median price. So the question is, why does Kleinberg hold such a strong premium? Well, the answer comes down to product, lifestyle, and scarcity. Kleinburg is known for estate-style detached homes, larger lots, mature streetscapes, luxury finishes, quiet residential pockets, and that village character that buyers really connect with. It's not just about the square footage, it's about the feeling of the neighborhood. And people are not only buying a house in Kleinburg, they are buying the privacy, the prestige, the space, the architecture, the lifestyle, and the proximity to the village. Conservation areas, don't forget them, the Vaughan amenities, and the broader GTA. So that is why Kleinburg often behaves differently from the broader Vaughan market. But here's the important part. Just because Kleinberg trades at a premium does not mean every listing automatically commands premium. So luxury buyers are very value sensitive right now. They may be willing to pay more for the right home, but they are not willing to overpay just because the property is located in Kleinberg. That is why pricing and positioning matters so much in this market. This is probably one of the most important slides in the entire presentation, inventory. So Kleinberg had 8 months of inventory in May 2026. In real estate, months of inventory tells us how long it would take to sell through all of current active listings at the current pace of sales, assuming no new listings come onto the market. So a simple way to understand it is this. Low inventory usually favors sellers because buyers have fewer choices. High inventory usually favors buyers because buyers have more options and less pressure. So a commonly used threshold is that anything above 5 months of inventory starts to move into a buyer's market territory. Now, Kleinberg is sitting at 8 months, which is meaningfully above that buyer's market line. So, what does this mean practically? For buyers, it means more choice, more time, more ability to compare properties. And for sellers, it means more competition. You're not just competing against the home down the street, you're competing against every other luxury property that a qualified buyer is actually considering. And when inventory rises, the days on market risk also rises. So if a home is overpriced at launch, it can sit. Once it sits, buyers start asking questions. Why hasn't it sold? Is there something wrong with it? Will the seller reduce the price? Can we offer less? So that psychology of a higher inventory market. So the key message is that inventory is giving buyers leverage and it is forcing sellers to be much more precise. Now let's look at days on market. So Kleinberg's average days on market was 26 days. Vaughn's listings on market was days on market was 27 days. And Vaughn's property days on market was 41 days. So this is an important distinction because listing days on market typically measures how long a current listing has been active. Property days on market can capture a longer exposure period, including relisting activity. So when bonds listing days on market is 27 days, property days on market is 41 days, it suggests that some homes are being relisted. They're being repositioned and reintroduced after not selling the first time. And that is a very important seller lesson in today's market. The first launch actually really matters. The first 2 weeks of a listing are usually when you get the most attention. So buyers who have alerts set up to see it right away, agents send it to their clients. It gets the most initial traffic online. And if the prices are too high during that first window, the home can miss its strongest audience. And then instead of creating momentum, the listing just starts to lose energy. So the good news is that Kleinberg homes can still sell within a month when they are priced and presented correctly. So this is not a dead market. It is a discerning market, I would say. The difference between a home that sells and a home that sits is often pricing strategy, presentation, marketing quality, and how well the property is positioned against the competition. Now let's talk about negotiation. Bond sale to list ratio was 98%. That means on average, sellers were receiving about 98% of their asking price. So in plain English, sellers are generally accepting some discount from the list price. Now in Kleinburg, the median bidding spread was about 64,499 below asking, and that is a big signal. It tells us buyers are not just walking in and paying whatever sellers asked, they are negotiating. This is very different from the market conditions we saw during peak years when many buyers were going firm, removing conditions and offering above asking just to win. But right now, buyers are calmer. They are looking at comparable sales, they're watching price reductions. They are asking whether the home is truly worth the asking price. For buyers, this creates opportunity. If you are pre-approved, serious, and working with the right strategy, you may be able to negotiate on price, closing terms, conditions, or inclusions. For sellers, this means you cannot rely on emotion alone. You need to just justify your price with data, and buyers are not competing in the same way. They are negotiating. So, sellers who understand the market and prices strategically from the beginning is much more likely to attract serious offers. Now let's zoom out and look at Vaughan's home price index benchmarks year over year. So the composite benchmark was down 8.47% year over year. Detached homes were down 8.41%. Townhouses were down 8.51%. Condo apartments were down 9.81%. So every major category was down year over year, with condo apartments seeing one of the steepest corrections. Now, what does this mean? So the home price index is helpful because it gives us a more consistent view of the price movement across properties. So instead of only looking at 1 month's average price, which can be skewed by a few very expensive or very inexpensive sales, the benchmarks help show a broader trend. So the trend in May 2026 was clear that values were still below where they were 1 year earlier across major segments. But this does not mean that every property dropped by the exact same amount. So real estate is hyperlocal, as we all know. A beautifully finished detached home in a prime Kleinburg pocket may perform very differently from a condo apartment in another part of Vaughan. So that is why you never want to use one broad statistic to price a specific home. The data gives us direction, but the final valuation depends on property type, the lot size, upgrades, the layout, location, condition, and recent comparable sales. So for sellers, this means you need a micro market pricing strategy. And for buyers, it means there may be opportunities, but you still need to understand which homes are actually priced well. This slide is about property type, and this is very important for understanding Kleinburg. So Vaughn's market is made up of different housing types. So detached homes, semi-detached homes, townhomes, condo townhomes, and condo apartments. But Kleinburg's identity is very heavily connected to detached and estate style homes. So that is why the detached premium matters. Even when the overall market softens, detached homes and estate style properties often continue to command stronger prices because they offer something that is harder to, I would say, replace, um, such as land, privacy, space, and luxury lifestyle. In Vaughan, data semi-detached homes had a median price around 1,050,000. Attached or row homes had a median price around 983,000. Condo townhomes were around 800,000, and condo apartments were around 530,000. So that range tells us that the market is segmented. So not all Vaughan real estate is moving the same way. Steinberg's premium comes from the fact that it is not primarily a condo-driven or entry-level market. It is a higher-end, detached, focused community. So that product mix can help protect Kleinberg from the deepest price drops seen in more sensitive segments, like some condo markets. So this also means affordability is a bigger factor as well. The higher the price point, the smaller the buyer pool. So for Kleinberg, the detached premium still holds, but sellers must understand that luxury buyers are fewer, more selective, and more analytical in this market. Now let's talk about mortgage rates because rates are one of the biggest force shaping buyer behavior right now. So the Bank of Canada policy rate was 2.25%. Prime was 4.45%, and the best 5-year fixed rate noted in the report was 4.09%. And the 5-year Government of Canada bond yield was around 3%. So, what does this mean for Kleinberg? It means that rates have eased from peak levels, which helps affordability compared to when borrowing costs were much higher. But higher end buyers are still very aware of financing costs. So when you're buying at 1.5 million to 3 million or higher price point, even like small rate change can affect monthly payments, the qualification, and overall comfort level. So this is why buyers may be active but cautious. And, they may have the income, they may have the down payment, they may be approved, but they're still asking, do I have the leverage? Like, can I negotiate? And is this property worth it compared to other options available? So lower rates can help bring buyers back into the market, but that does not automatically mean buyers will overpay. In fact, this market, many buyers are using improved affordability as negotiating power. For sellers, that means pricing still matters. For buyers, it means preparation is key. If you have strong financing and understanding of the market, you may be in a very good position. Now let's talk directly to buyers. So if you are thinking about buying in Kleinberg, this is one of the most important buyer-friendly markets you have seen in years. You have more inventory. There were 114 active listings in May, which means you were not forced to make a rush decision on the only home available, and you have more time for due diligence. So, with average days on market around 26 days, many buyers have more room to review the property, confirm financing, they can book inspections, compare options, and think strategically. And you also have more room to negotiate. The median bidding spread of roughly $64,499 below asking confirms that buyers are successfully negotiating below list price in many cases. Um, but here is my caution. Buyer friendly does not mean every property is a deal. Best homes still attract attention, and a properly priced, beautifully presented home in a strong pocket can still move quickly. So, your strategy should not be to lowball everything. Your strategy should be to understand value and look at recent sold comparables, not just asking prices. Asking prices are what sellers hope to get. Sold prices are what the market actually accepted. So that is the difference between guessing and making a smart offer. If you are buying in Kleinberg, work with someone who can help you understand the data properly by property because the opportunity is real, but strategy does matter. Now for my sellers. So if you own a home in Kleinburg, I want to be very clear. Kleinburg is still a premium market, but the selling strategy that worked in 2021 or during the hottest parts of the market may not work today. Luxury buyers, they are informed, they are patient, and they are comparing homes carefully. And they are unforgiving when a property feels overpriced. The biggest mistake a seller can make in this market is pricing high just to test the market. Testing the market often means helping your competition sell first, and we don't want that. When a listing is overpriced, it can accumulate days on market, and once buyers see that a home has been sitting, the perception changes. Instead of asking, "How do we win this home?" buyers start asking, how much less can we offer?" And that is the shift sellers need to avoid right now. So presentation is also non-negotiable. In the luxury market, buyers expect excellence from the moment they see the home online. They want professional photography, video, staging, lighting, decluttering, landscaping, and strategic marketing all matter. A luxury home needs to feel intentional, and launch price is critical. The first 2 weeks generate the most attention, and a sharp market aligned price can create urgency, while an inflated price can create silence. So, for sellers, the message is that the market will still reward quality, but it will not reward unrealistic pricing. This is the main message of the entire video. So Kleinberg is not distressed, it is strategic. The best homes still sell. The difference is positioning. Um, Kleinberg remains a premium market because it offers something very specific, a state style home, a strong lifestyle appeal, beautiful streetscapes, and a luxury identity, and as well as a price point that many other Vaughan communities do not match in the same way. But we're also in a buyer-friendly conditions. So 8 months of inventory creates real leverage of qualified, prepared buyers, and negotiation is good. So the era of buyers blindly offering over asking with no conditions has shifted into a more balanced, thoughtful, data-driven environment that is actually healthy. A strategic market gives serious buyers a chance to make better decisions, and it also pushes sellers to be more professional, more realistic, and more intentional. So, if you are a buyer, this could be an opportunity window. If you are a seller, this is a moment to prepare properly before going live. And if you're just watching the market, the biggest thing to understand is that Kleinberg is still luxury, but luxury buyers are no longer rushing. They're choosing very carefully. So, what should you do next? If you are thinking about buying in Kleinberg, you need a clear buyer strategy before you start making any offers. That means understanding recent sold prices, current inventory, days on market, negotiation trends, and which listings are actually priced well. If you're thinking about selling, you need a personalized home value review before you choose a list price. And online estimates are broad averages, and they are not enough in a luxury market like Kleinberg. So your home's value depends on the lot, the layout, the finishes, the upgrades, location, condition, the timing, and the competition. So if you want a customized Kleinberg home value review, or if you want a tailored buyer strategy call, you can contact me directly. My email is natasha.hamilton@exprealty.com. You can call or text me at 226-974-6544. And you can visit my website at natashahamilton.exprealty.com. I'm Natasha Hamilton, luxury realtor with EXP Realty, serving Kleinburg, Vaughan, King City, and the GTA areas. So if you found this video helpful, please like it, comment below and with your questions, and subscribe to my channel for more local real estate market updates. Also, check out my other videos on YouTube if you are researching Kleinburg, Vaughan, King City, or luxury estates in your region. And don't forget to check out the helpful links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.